Alright, what is going on, guys? HC Jammers here, back with another Street Fighter 5 video, but this is going to be our first Street Fighter 5 Arcade Edition video. I do apologize for this taking a while. I had to wait for the game and the changes to be officially released, but that's right, you guessed it, we are going to be going over the R.Mika changes for Street Fighter 5 Arcade Edition. We can either make this long or we can make this short, but I'll try and make this as short and succinct as I possibly can. Also, I'd like to apologize in advance if there's something I don't understand on the change list. Then we'll just mention it and we'll skip it. But if someone does know something where I'm not knowledgeable in that area, I'm sure they can shed some light in the comment section below. But yeah, that's gonna be pretty much that introducing it. But yeah, going over the balance changes for Mika is interesting because she's changed. It's been interesting, and I'll give you my my overall opinion at the end of it. But like I said, we're gonna do this in chronological order, so how Capcom have listed it. If I can find the link to the official change list, I will leave that in the link description below, or the description below, sorry, and you can go and check that out for yourself. I do have a personal list here, so I can go over things. So first off, we're going to be going over well, actually we'll include the universal changes as well and how they affect Mika, because I feel she's one of the characters it has affected really hard. Well, not really hard, but it does affect her since she is a grappling character. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump straight into this. So my stick is all good to go. Alright, so we're raring to go. Now, first change we're going to go over is Mika's Daydream Headlock. So this is her standing regular throw, which is this one right here. Now, what they've done is they've increased the damage of it. So in Season 2, or so for the past 2 seasons for Street Fighter 5, it has done 130 damage. Now the damage is increased by 10, which it does 140 damage. As you can see, multiple times coming up on my screen, it does 140 damage. It is the equivalent to her back throw as well. So both her standing throw and her back throw, they do 140 damage and 200 stun, which is not bad if you're going to close out the round or you're going to go for the stun. So yeah, pretty simple with that throw. Most of these throws are probably going to, no, most of these changes are actually going to apply to her throws, considering she is a grappler and a most formidable and threatening one at that. Okay, the next one we're going to have to go over. This is very important. So I might put like an indication saying these are important, or I might just go over them at the end and list them. The next one we're going to go over is her crouching throw, the power bomb, but its official name is called the Dream Driver. So it's this throw here. Now, what's important about this is we'll go over again. The damage has increased and the stun has increased. Now, this throw has gone through various changes, multiple changes, because in Season 1 it did, you know, decent stun and decent damage, and you got a frame advantage to land some Oki afterwards, meat setups. Season 2 it got a damage reduction, I think, and a stun reduction as well, and you still got the frame advantage. But now in Arcade Edition you can no longer get a setup from this, you only land the throw. Now, there's a little feature in Street Fighter 5 Arcade Edition that they put on, which is, hey, it should be colors, red and blue. If you don't know what this system is, it's basically blue is good, red is very bad. Blue means you're positive, and red means you're negative. So, like I said, blue good, red bad. You know what it is. But when you land this throw, you are now plus 12. Your frame advantage before used to be like plus 20 something or plus 30. So basically what that means is you can't dash up and get set up. You can't dash up and get set from this. You'll be minus if you dash. Now, if I put this to wake up, so if we do a throw now and we try and dash, we should get punished. Yes, we should get punished for it. So once you land this throw, you can no longer dash up and get it set up. The only thing you can do is probably like maybe a micro walk stand medium punch or something like that, but you'd have to work on it. But basically your opponent, they're entitled to backdash now. They don't have to sit there on the spot and take a setup from this grab, and that's a very big, that's a pivotal change, because this is one of the throws Mika was, you know, it was like pivotal, sorry, it was really beneficial when she landed this grab because she could get a setup from it. Now that is no longer the case, so when you land this, it's pretty much, it is back to neutral. That's what, you know, the game's going to be reinforcing, is back to neutral. When you land it in the corner, you get pushed back, and you get pushed back quite far. But you can no longer dash in and get a setup. You will get punished. You'll be like -7 after the dash or something like that. So you will get punished. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. But like I said before, the damage and the stun is increased. So I can't say it's not too bad, because if you really look at the intricacies and the depths of fighting games, sometimes it's better to have the situation over the damage, because if you put your opponent in a perilous situation, you can definitely score some damage with the right setup that you get, and definitely cause them to guess. I mean, Street Fighter 5 is all about the guessing anyway. But yeah, that's going to be onto that change, or that's going to be done with that change. Now, the next thing that has been listed, if we go back to mid-screen now, the next thing that's been listed, this is an interesting one, stand, medium punch, and crouch light kick. It's been regarding these two, so this button here and that button there. I believe they changed the collision boxes during the move. I don't actually know what that means. I'm guessing it's something that happens when you either throw it out, or when you throw it out and it hits your opponent, or when you throw it out and it gets whiff punished. So one of the boxes has been changed, but it's regarding both the moves. And the more important one that I want to go over is it's been changed. The hitbox has been changed. No, sorry, the pushback on hit and block has been changed. Sorry, I'm looking at these notes, looking back and forward, and I'm getting things incorrect. So, yeah, the hitbox on this has changed. Or sorry, I keep saying hitbox. The pushback on it has changed. So the opponent goes further than they used to before. Now, I have to look into this a little bit more, but on hit, I guess it doesn't really change much, because you can still do stand, medium punch, stand fierce into heavy shooting peach. You can still do stand, medium punch into passion press and do whatever. So in that regard, it's not too bad on hit. On block, I think it might be a little bit better. If I get something recorded, so if we do, let's do the basic frame trap. Let me record that again. 2 dashes, 1, 2. And then we'll crouch block. Let's see what happens there. So if the pushback has increased further, I guess that is really beneficial, because certain 3-frame buttons won't reach her anymore. Yeah, there you go. So the pushback is increased further, which is not too bad, because before, when you done this frame trap, certain buttons that your opponent's pressed, that would connect. Now, on block, that's no longer the case, because they've increased the pushback. However, I think you can still, yeah, you can still press crouch light kick. In this regard anyway, and I am crouching. If you were standing, I don't think it would matter, but I'd have to go through which buttons can actually connect with that and which cannot, but that's actually pretty good. That's not too bad. Yeah, and I don't think you're in range of a grab anymore either, because in Season 2 you were in range of a grab. So you know what, that change is actually not that bad. Capcom listed it kind of funny, but I guess that's not too bad. So yeah, the pushback has increased on stand, medium punch, and as well, crouch light kick. It's been increased on that as well. But in regards to that, you can still tick throw with crouch light kick into brimstone, which is not the end of the world. You can even do it with heavy one as well. You can still do that on block. I don't think it's a big deal either, because I believe. Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. With crouch light kick, it's not a big deal, because this move has very little hit stun and block stun. So as long as you can tick throw with it, I don't think it's the end of the world. But yeah, definitely pay attention to those two changes there. The pushback on stand, medium punch, this button here, and crouch light kick, they have changed. On hit, it doesn't really matter. On block, it's better. It is better. I wouldn't really say that's like a really good secret buff. It's just something that's very interesting that Capcom changed. I'm trying to question why they do it, but listen, you get what you're given. Beggars can't be choosers. Well, yeah, they just can't be choosers. But let's move on to the next change. Alright, so we've got stand light punch, crouching light punch, jumping hard punch, and jump hard kick. The hurt box, or they've changed the hurt box on all these moves. So they changed the hurt box on this, they changed the hurt box on that. They changed the hurt box on this, and they changed the hurt box on this. Now, I will go over the universal changes a little bit later. We may choose other characters, but right now we're going over Mika. So they've just basically changed the hurt box. They still hit the same way. The hurt box is the box that surrounds Mika. If I was on PC and I had the little app that you can do this with, I'd show you. But they've just changed the hurt boxes. I'm guessing so it's easier to hit them in regards. Maybe they've shifted them back, shifted them forward. I'm not too sure, but that change, I'm not too familiar with how it works. Now, okay, another change that is very important, and I'm going to move ourselves to the corner over here. Now, crouch medium punch. Yes, the go-to normal attack anti-air for Mika in Street Fighter 5. Now, one thing you have to remember about anti-airs in general, about Street Fighter is every character should have at least one normal anti-air and one special one. With Mika, for the normal is the crouch medium punch, and the special is the EX wingless airplane. But we don't really need to talk about EX wingless airplane. Now, crouching medium punch got to change because this has gone through some drastic changes, some trials and tribulations in this game as well. Because in Season 1, when you done this, Mika was considered airborne, and Fudo found some tech that you could avoid some throws. And when people tried to crush you up in certain regards, and you tried to do this, they'd hit you, you'd be airborne. But they've confirmed they hit you and tried to do something else, so Mika got punished for it. People weren't happy with that, so Capcom decided to change it. Season 2, they made you grounded. Now, in certain situations, when you wanted to anti-air this button, it just didn't work. Let me take this off, because the colors do get kind of annoying. Yeah, when you do that in certain situations, your opponent will cross you up, you'll get hit, and you'll go airborne. Now, I'm going to see if I can try and recreate that situation now. I'm going to try and give you as best a scenario as I can. Let's just do something like that, actually. Let's re-record that there. Yeah, I do apologize, because it feels like I'm going through this, or I'm rushing through this, but honestly, some of these changes, it's balance changes, it's nothing like substantial. That's the universal change that changed Mika. So, right, before in Season 2, if I tried to anti-air with crouching medium punch, it wouldn't work. That's what would happen, something like that. And I'll try and do it as late as I can so you can see it. Something like that would happen. So you do that, you try and anti-air, you get counter hit, they get a full combo, you're in the corner, yada yada yada. You get the trick. Now, if I do crouching medium punch, it hit the hurt box. Is it hurt box? Yes, the hurt box has changed, so it hits behind Mika's. Sorry, hurt box has changed, but the hitbox has changed, so it hits behind Mika's head. Similar to Birdie stand medium, crouching medium punch, how it was in Season 1 before it got nerfed, then reverted back to the change. Not too sure why they've done that, but other moves in the game, they have this same update as well, this same buff. So this is a little bit more consistent, or much more consistent in terms of anti-airing. And if people do try to cross you up in certain situations, like I'm trying to show you here, it will work. You should be ready, you'll get the counter hit. And what you have to remember as well is, look where it's putting the opposing Mika. It's putting Mika back in front of me. It's not going to put her behind. The boo's going to put her back in front of me, and I get a setup, or I get a little mix up there from crouching medium punch, whether it's going to be a low combo into shooting Peach, or is it going to be a brimstone, something like that. So this is a significantly better anti-air in regards to hitting behind Mika's head. So in the long run, that will pay off. That will pay dividends to us Mika players. So we can rejoice and say, yay, we can actually use a normal anti-air. We don't have to be mad situational with it. Or you don't really have to rely on your Mika, because if you do EX wingless airplane, it will miss. And I like doing my EX wingless airplane. But in certain situations when you're going to anti-air, you definitely need to go to crouch medium punch. So yeah, that's going to be that change there. So hopefully people are understanding this and getting it as I go along. If there's nothing that if there's something you don't understand, please let me know in the comment section. Put a timestamp, and then I'll try and go over it, writing down in the comments. But yeah, next change. So crouching medium kick and EX shooting Peach. So crouching medium kick and EX shooting Peach. They've changed the hitbox. Now, I don't really know. Again, this is something I can't really interpret, and I'm trying to figure out, trying to fathom what Capcom were trying to say here, but I'm guessing they changed the hitbox on these for the better. I definitely don't think they've shrunken the hitboxes on these. I think they've just definitely made them better. Again, if I had a hitbox preview program, I'd show you or something, but yeah, the hitboxes, they've been changed, for better or worse, I don't know. I mean, we're going to have to guess, as if players in Street Fighter 5 didn't have to guess enough as much as they had to already. So yeah, apologies that I can't really go over that, but just so you're familiar with the moves, crouching medium kick looks like this, and EX Peach looks like that. So I'm pretty sure someone somewhere will go, oh, okay, this is what they've done, or if they've shrunken it. If they've shrunken it, I guess that's worse. If they've enlarged it, I guess that's a buff. But again, find out on next week's episode of Arcade Edition. But yeah, we're going to be moving on to the next change now, which is Dive Bomb. Yes, Dive Bomb. Now, again, we'll go over this move